Hello again, this is the second reacting masses calculations for GCSE chemistry video. I'm going to look at another past paper question. This time this is the 2021 higher tier paper instead. The last one was foundation tier. So this one says household bleach contains the chemical sodium hypochlorite, which is NaOCl, which can cause irritation of the eyes, skin and lungs. Sodium hypochlorite may be produced from the reaction of sodium hydroxide and chlorine. The balanced symbol equation for the reaction is shown here. 2NaOH plus Cl2 gives you NaOCl, NaCl and H2O. So now it's saying that 200 grams of sodium hydroxide were added to 142 grams of chlorine and a reaction occurred. So you'll see I am highlighting or underlining some things here which are probably going to be useful. So in this year they had done this question in steps, and quite often that's the way it's done now, but sometimes they'll just ask you to do it all in one go. The steps here were first of all to calculate the number of moles of sodium hydroxide in 200 grams. So the first thing we need to do there is work out the formula mass. So sodium hydroxide has one sodium, so that's 23, it has one oxygen, which is 16, and it has one hydrogen, which is 1. So the total mass there, formula mass, is 40. And then we know the formula is moles is the mass divided by the formula mass. So in this case we have 200 grams for the mass from here. The formula mass is 40, so the number of moles here is 5. And then the next bit is calculating the number of moles of chlorine in 142 grams. Now what you have to remember here is that chlorine from the equation is Cl2. So that's 2 chlorines, which is 2 times 35.5, which is 71. Okay, where you might go wrong there is just using 35.5 instead of multiplying it by 2. So then the moles again is mass divided by the formula mass, so 142 divided by 71, which is just 2. So we have 5 moles of the sodium hydroxide and 2 moles of chlorine. So the next part of the question is determining which reactant is the limiting reactant. The limiting reactants are the things which restrict how much product can be made. So if you think about making a cake, if you're making a cake and each cake you bake requires 2 eggs in your mixture, and you have unlimited flour, unlimited butter, unlimited sugar and any other ingredients that you need, but all you have are 2 eggs, then you're limited to only being able to make 1 cake. So when you want to find out what the limiting reagent is, you need to go back and look at the balanced equation. So here, the balanced equation for this reaction says we have 2 NaOH plus Cl2. So that means they're reacting in a 2:1 ratio. Now when we worked out the number of moles here that actually are present in the reaction mixture, there were 5 of the sodium hydroxide and 2 of chlorine. Now, in a 2:1 ratio, you would need at least 4 moles of sodium hydroxide to react with the 2 moles of chlorine that are present. Or if you had 5 moles of sodium hydroxide, as we do here, you would need half of that number of moles of chlorine for it all to be used up. So what you can tell from here is you have more sodium hydroxide than you need, okay? So because you have 2 moles of chlorine, you need a minimum of 4 moles of sodium hydroxide, but you've got 5. So that means that the limiting reagent is chlorine. Now, the final part of this question says calculate the mass of sodium hypochlorite produced in this reaction. And this is where we have to look at reacting masses. So for just making it simpler, I'm going to just pop that equation up there at the top so you can see both, okay? So the mass of sodium hypochlorite produced, we can see here that from the equation, Cl2 is giving you NaOCl, and that's in a 1:1 ratio. Now, from the previous page, you'll remember that the number of moles here was 2 moles of chlorine. So if they react in a 1-to-1 ratio, as we can see here from the balanced equation, 1 mole of chlorine gives you 1 mole of sodium hypochlorite. So it would be 2 moles will give you 2 moles. So now that we know that, it's a simple matter of working out what's the mass of 1 mole of sodium hypochlorite and multiply it by 2. So NaOCl, we have 1 Na, which is 23, with 1 oxygen, which is 16, and we have 1 chlorine, which is 35.5. Add those all together, you get 74.5. So there's 2 moles, so 74.5 times 2 is 149. So that'll be 149 grams. So the 2 marks are coming there from working out the formula mass here, the 74.5, and then 149 grams. Okay, I'm going to do another couple of these videos and a few about empirical formula as well. Thanks for watching.